Hi, my name is Parcsen. We are all ordinary fathers, and today I'm speaking with one ordinary father. His name is Muhd Alamin.
Hi, my name is Alamin. I'm a father of two. One is a 6-year-old boy who just entered primary one. So I just sent him to school this morning. And another is a girl who just turned 1 2 days ago. So she's still very young and still very fast and uh, too fast lah, too fast. The age is catching up, so it is getting too fast for me. Okay, so
Okay.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
currently working as a youth work and counseling, and I'm currently pursuing my master's. So imagine going back from work, reach home, play with the kids, and sometimes do a bit of reading or schoolwork. And on the weekends, it's my work is Monday to Fridays, and on Saturdays and Sundays I have class. So most people will have classes on Saturdays, but my classes are also on Saturdays and Sundays. So technically on Sundays, then it's back to work on a Monday. It's like a full week without any break. So uh, the frustration and sometimes a bit of tiredness, the fatigue kicks in when you want to play with your kids, you want to spend a bit more time, but the next day is the reality is work, or and sometimes after school you're just too tired to do anything.
Wow. Okay. Sounds like yes, you have a lot on your plate. How do you manage work-life balance? Let's start with that. Work and family, and then as a student.
The difficulty part of my job is because sometimes we bring back baggages. Okay, because I deal with youths, I deal with counseling. So sometimes you need to park it outside. And you cannot get too emotional or you cannot be too weighed down by what's happening. So the tough part is always what I always normally do is after work, I will take a little bit of time. Like for example, I finish work at 6 and I will just wind down first, uh, take a little bit of breather, process everything, and like, okay, so when I step up, I tell myself when I step up from this door, when I step up from my office, work is left behind unless an urgent messages or anything coming in. But other than that, work stops there. And I go home and because I drive, so it's a long road home. Okay. So the long road home sometimes adds to the baggage. You thought you're gonna leave everything behind, and then suddenly there's a long traffic jam, and you're like, ah man, I wanna reach home, I wanna spend more time, tired already, and then this is that. So if that happens, then at the car park I will stop first and calm myself down before I leave. I go home. Okay, so once I'm home, then most of the time, it will be like switch. Okay, but I mean, ultimately, I'm human. So sometimes, at the end of the day, is when you reach home, you'll still be a little bit more cranky because you're too tired, and then you have the older brother asking for attention, and then the younger one, because he's a baby, also asking for attention. So that's the struggle that I face a lot. And then being a husband as well, sometimes the communication and it is going to be a bit difficult, but the communication still has to happen. Sometimes I dare to say miscommunication happens. Even if people say, hey, you're a counselor. No, 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 miscommunication still happens. Because at the end of the day is we are human. Okay.
That's
It's
right.
on the back of our mind and everything, but
Mm.
things do happen. Okay. But it's a matter of you controlling yourself. Okay. Uh, there are people who walk out and never come back. For me, I walk out to calm myself and I come back in. Okay, I mean,
Mm.
ultimately, we have to take that step take that breather because things said out of anger or actions done during angry stage, it's not going to help. Okay,
Yeah.
and how I
It's called
cope,
a timeout,
yeah,
right?
yeah, you time out yourself, but don't take too long. Lah. Some people take like hours. I'm like, go take your mind, just come down, take a breather, and just come back in. Okay, and how I manage as a student is that's the most difficult part because you're already bogged down with family, you're bogged down with work, and then on a weekend you have school. Okay? And being a father is the difficult part is my sleeping time is my kids' sleeping time. So when they sleep at 8:30, I will fall asleep at 8:30.
Oh,
Okay,
that's
so
early.
yeah, so 8:30, 9 o'clock depends on what time my son sleeps. Then 9 o'clock. Okay, but sometimes we have late night conversations with my wife, so maybe 9:30, 10 o'clock. So back on half the time, After everybody sleeps, I will be reading my notes. Because it's on phone, you can read PDF. The other half of the time is like I want to read my notes, but the sleep monster comes in and then yeah. So what helps is sometimes on the way to school, sometimes on weekends I don't drive. I will just take the public transport, so I have more time for myself. I will
Mm.
just be reading notes, or I will just go to YouTube and search a topic that lecturer is talking, and I'll just be listening to something similar to catch up on what is needed. So that's the time I will be listening. But in reality, uh, half the time when you're in the public transport, you fall asleep. So you'll be listening, and then you'll be dozing off. And then like, oh no. And you wake up like, okay, half the other half is gone already. The other half of the so-called lecture online is gone already. So you just have to continue reading or just stop there and just attend class. What happens normally is during lunch break, when you have group discussion, when you go lunch with your friends, with your classmates, that's when I catch up with school, and sometimes they understand better and they give you the whole summary in less than 10 minutes. So you get
Mm.
the whole idea of this or everything rather than reading the whole notes.
Let me bring you back to a few years ago. You said your oldest child is 6 years old. So
Mm,
I would want to bring you back 6 years,
mm.
when your child was born or about to be born. Um, what were some of the thoughts and emotions that you felt when you discovered that you were becoming a father and when your child was born?
Oh, when my wife disclosed that she was pregnant, I think that was the happiest moment because we were like looking forward to it. I wanted to have kids because to me it's like not just as a passed down generation, but to me it made me a bit more whole. I have a little me whom I have somebody whom had an additional commitment. Okay, so to me, when that news came, it was like the biggest, happiest moment to me.
I'm so glad you said that. I have you ever, talked to people who don't want to get married or don't want to have a family? How do you persuade them?
That's very tough. Okay, I have friends whom have been trying. Even my cousin has been trying for more than 10 years, and eventually she finally got, I think, at her 12th year of marriage. And but they never gave up because they've always wanted, and it's always wanted. Uh, for my friends who don't want to get married, I always tell them, okay, when you don't want to get married, what's next for you? Okay. Uh, if you don't want to get married, your companionship and anything, or you don't have kids, okay, what are you going to leave behind? What legacy are you going to leave? Sometimes it's not about uh, thinking so far ahead, like, oh, I have to think about how I'm going to pass on the house and everything. No, your kids will eventually grow up and they will have to learn to live with whatever you left behind or without anything. Okay. That's the reality. Because you know that not all of us are so wealthy that we can have something to leave behind. But at the end of the day, is they will eventually grow up and they will learn to adapt. So it's our job to educate them properly from young, not to have this kind of expectations of things that is going to be passed down. And it's learn to live with whatever means. And if you have it, you have it. You don't have it, you don't have it. But what is the legacy? All those years of your education that you have attained, you wanna bring up a kid and pass down that knowledge and make them to be somebody who is better for the society. That is to me is the legacy that I want to have. So sometimes I ask them, when you have nobody else, I mean you have your cats might go before you because their license is a bit shorter than ours. What else are you going to do? You're going to donate your
Mm,
money and everything. Okay, good. But what else? What's next? Okay,
mm,
you're gonna have a grave and nobody's gonna visit. I mean, eventually, uh, we don't visit our great grandparents anymore or anything. But at least you have a marker where somebody will visit you. But if you have nothing, you have nobody who is going to be the one to care for you, who is the one going to look after all the things that you have left.
mm. And
So these
who's
are
going
some
to be the
questions.
ones remembering you,
Yeah,
and being thankful for what you have done? for them, the influence, the impact that you had on their lives.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes.
I like the word legacy, because it seems that the younger people today, one of the main reasons they don't want to have children is cost of living. They
Mm-hmm.
say it's so expensive nowadays to raise a child, and which indirectly means they have to make a lot of sacrifices, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you if you're going to spend more on the children, that means you cannot spend as much as you want on yourself. And the other reason that young people are talking about is independence. I want to be independent, right? I want to do what I want to do. I want to enjoy life. Yeah. So I'm hoping that we can find a way to persuade these people to see long term, that the legacy that you will leave behind outweighs all these other reasons, right? Which are short term. These are very short term perspectives. You know, um, doesn't mean you cannot enjoy life. I think, in fact, you will enjoy it even more because now you're doing it as a family, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you go on a holiday, yes, you're going to be paying not just for one or two people. Now you're going to be paying for three or four people. But I think the fun will be much more. It will be multiplied. And the memories will live longer in your mind, and especially through photographs.
Yeah. I think there's this misconception that, okay, yes, kids, bringing up kids is expensive. That's the reality. It's not going to get any cheaper as well. Okay.
Mhm,
But on the other hand, like, if you want to think about, like, we're going to be tied down with kids and everything. When you're young, it's not about going very far overseas. It's not about going Australia, everything, pretty go Disneyland and everything. The kids are going to look back at the memories. Yeah, oh yeah, I went there. But I think a lot of people have this problem thinking that, oh, I need to bring them to places to impress them. It's not about that. At the end of the day, what your kids want is just having that time with you, the memories. So even if, let's say, you don't go anywhere, you just go Malaysia, you go the indoor playground and you play with them, okay, and they enjoy, the kids are laughing and everything. As compared to I go to Disneyland, okay, and then after that, oh, we are queuing up and everything, then the kids are taking a ride, but there's no interaction.
mm,
Having to go to Johor and go in indoor playground when you play with a kid creates a more lasting memory as compared to going somewhere materialistic. Okay,
mm,
so it's not about that. I mean, if we watch videos, say watch about parenting, about families, I think the most famous one is who would you like to have a meal with if you have the time? Anybody dead or alive? And parents are all talking about like celebrities and everything. And the kids are all just saying, "Oh, I want to have a meal with my mom and dad." They're not even bothered
wow.
about anything else. They're just wanting to have a meal with their family. So all these small, small things is much more important. Okay. When I ask my son, where do you want to go, anything, it says up to us because we give him so many options. Australia, we want to go Bangkok, you want to go Turkey, but he just chose somewhere simple because at the end of the day is uh, when you give him something, it's not about the material cost. It's not about that Lego. It's not about that bicycle that you give him. It's about you playing that Lego with him, building that Lego with him. And it's about you going cycling with him, not he cycle himself. It creates that memory. It's not about all those expensive things. Even the small, small things that he gets, is very precious to him because if I get this, I can play with my father and my father plays with me or my mom plays with me. And those are the more memorable things rather than you give him all those other things. So yes, the cost of living, cost of bringing up your children are also expensive. But sometimes we have to lower our expectations. So if we say about the cost of living, of course it's going to get expensive, but we have to also relook at ourselves. What are we actually spending on? How much are we actually spend to eat outside? If we actually cut costs a lot, then it's actually not so expensive as what it is. It's just like a
Mm,
normal day. It's just an extra person to feed. But other
that's
than
right.
that, it's not really that bad. I mean, of course, the schools are getting expensive, but that's the reality. Nothing. Your car is also going to be 100,000, and it's no longer you get that 20, 50,000 anymore. It's That's the reality. It's never going
Yeah,
down. It's
yeah.
just to learn to manage ourselves then.
Correct. Why do you need to have a $7 cup of coffee when you can have one at $1?
Yes. And,
Correct. It's still
that's
coffee,
the
right? Yeah.
yeah, that's the reason why I have my own espresso machine, because although the full 10 capsule is $7 plus, but if you were to
Hmm.
count, it's 70 cents each for each cup.
Correct.
So it's
Yes,
very cheap.
exactly. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do have an espresso machine. My eldest daughter bought it for me as my birthday present. So nice. All parents, right? Mothers and fathers, right? They have different parenting styles, and this often become a point of contention. They can't agree. One will say this is the right way, and the other one will say no, this is the right way. Uh, I'm sure you have gone through that. How do you work things out and eventually become a parenting team?
I think maybe from the start, we have actually discussed how we want to parent. Okay. I think a lot of times this happens is before you get into marriage, you have never discussed all these things.
Mm,
I can tell you for safe for sure, that a lot of parents, a lot of people have never discussed these things. And even if you go through the marriage preparation course, which we did, uh, your parenting styles, exploring your own parenting styles, everything was very short. Okay. But because I come from psychology and counseling background, my wife comes from education background, we actually sat down and discussed. And this is the kind of parenting we wanted to. Okay, positive parenting, but still with Asian. Because 100% uh to do 100% positive parenting is gonna be tough, and it's not saying possible, but it's gonna be very, very difficult, especially in Asian culture. So we also decide that if one parent is angry or scolding the child, don't interrupt. Okay, let the person be the one to school, and then you come in and ask when the child is cool down and ask what happened, and vice versa. Okay, so those are the important things where we also see that what's next for our child, what's the next development, what is what are we going to do next. A lot of times I think is we stop and look at the development of a child, because parenting is not just about, oh, I'm the mother, I'm the father. Okay, old ways don't work anymore compared to now. Old ways were meant for the old ways. Now is the new generation, We have to keep ourselves updated and learn techniques. It's not just about, oh, I learned this from my father, I'm going to apply it. Okay, I've learned things from my father and I've applied it. Maybe only a quarter to half works. The other half doesn't work anymore. Because maybe the other half works in the old generation. You can expect a kid to sit still because they live in an age of era of gadgets. What are you going to do next? Okay, are you going to just give and give in, or I'm going to do something to parent? Okay, so parenting is not just parenting. Parenting is also educating. So you have to go in and learn. So what you do always do is, like I mentioned just now, if one person is schooling, the other person doesn't get involved and comes in later, or at the same time, if because our kids are always watching. If you have disagreements or anything, keep it behind closed doors, because your kids are always listening. And sometimes, uh, be frank. I mean, be frank. Sometimes we do in front, and you get to pick up why is this kid raising their voice as well, because maybe he has picked up such things. Okay, either because he sees somebody else doing it and it works, and sometimes he sees us, so we keep it ourselves. And I think the other successful thing is, as parents, never be afraid to apologize to our children, because at the end of the day is we are human as well, and we as parents we also make mistakes. So when we make a mistake, we apologize to them as well. Okay, it's no longer of I'm the parent, you listen to me, but sometimes kids have good word of wisdoms as well. Okay, you will sit down and, okay, I had an argument with mommy or daddy. How do you think we should do? How are things that we could settle things? How would you think it would be better this way? Role play and give way to them, and you'll be surprised that kids are actually much more. They know more than you think. You don't
That's true.
underestimate.
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
You don't underestimate kids. Okay,
Mm.
whatever you talk in your room, sometimes they are listening in the other room. He is busy playing, but his ears are still listening. Okay. Okay. And secondly is I think at the end of the day is the most important thing is child A is child A, child B is child B. Never ever 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 compare the two because each
Mm.
one are unique individuals. And never ever compare them with their friends or family members. That's the
That's
most
right.
important.
Mm.
Because if you start comparing, you're gonna have expectations. Okay. And for me, other thing for me is we don't have much expectations. For us, the most important thing for him to go to school is to have fun. Is to have fun learning. Okay. The grades are there, but the grades do not define everything. It's more of going to school. We don't ask him, what did you learn today? We ask him, what did you ask? Have you asked any questions today?
Oh, that's a very interesting way of doing it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did you ask
Because
any
you
questions?
you want him to be a learner, right? So a learner is
Yes.
somebody who is curious and asks questions.
Mhm. Yes. And the second thing is
Wonderful.
there are no such thing as bad or stupid questions. If you
Mm.
really don't know, you ask. Because I don't want you to go into school and be embarrassed about it. It's because I'm asking these questions because I don't know rather than I keep quiet and make a fool out of myself later on. Okay. It's better to clarify, get the answers wrong, and I learn from it. It's okay to ask and answer questions and get it wrong because I'm learning. Because maybe my thought process is not similar to what is being taught.